as of late, I've actually become a lot more brutally honest than compared to before. And before was a subtle honesty, you know, it was just kind of like more or less passive-aggressive. Although I've been always one to stand my ground in my convictions and beliefs and my structures of values and principles and morality. However, you know, as of recent, I've just become sick and tired and exhausted of people's quote-unquote bullshit, you know. And I've got to the breaking point mentally where I had so many mental breakdowns. I consider them more of not meltdowns as much as a spiritual rebirth and conscience awakening or reawakening. And today I had to end my friendship with yet again another individual whose name is Leah, who I thought was under the impression of a dear sister to me, someone who I valued and highly, deeply respected and admired. And however, you know, it goes to show that, you know, I've got plenty of friends in my life, honest, true friendships who are genuine articles, who have always believed in me, have always supported me, regardless. And regardless of my faith, regardless of my beliefs, my philosophy, my opinion, perspectives, or simply otherwise. And I've always managed to find a true balance, to meet each other in our relationship and our friendship, to coexist peacefully among one another. And this particular person, much like the last person whom I considered as a dear sister, who I guess I've forgotten her name. I guess she was that irrelevant to me. And unfortunately, but it happened some time ago where, you know, I don't really care. I don't particularly hold on to the past. And this person, prior anyway, you know, the forgotten name, I should call her, she claimed to be a high priestess for theistic satanic priestess or whatever, and she was always running around saying "Hail Satan" and, you know, screw humanity and human beings, you know, particularly. So she was a lot like myself, who is a complete nihilist, cynical nihilist, misanthropic, and is someone who has shares that passion of deeper resentment and hatred towards human beings, human species. And come to find out, after the whole Notre Dame controversy, that, you know, we were like two peas in a pod, like two and one in the same. And until that incident where the Notre Dame had burned down, well, okay, listen, like, she was so quick to defend it and so triggered and offended by it, by me questioning it. The key points that I had pointed out ultimately were, okay, look, 1, no one was killed. 2, no one was injured. And 3, yes, it may be unfortunate that it's a relic piece of art, of tradition, of, you know, culture of the past. And however, the fourth pinnacle point and the greatest point of all things is that if you are someone as myself, who is a witch, who is a practitioner of magic, of alchemy, of occultism, you delve in witchcraft, you find that the symbol in which that building in particular that was associated with it under the name and religion of Catholicism is completely degrading to us as practitioners. And you have to understand and realize, like, I brought this up to her, saying that there was a point in history where us as witches were burned at the stake. Even Joan of Arc, a lot of the Freemasons and the Knights Templars were also crucified, burned alive at the stake, to go more graphic detail, and interrogated, just tortured, and, you know, crucified innocent people. And it's that association by guilt of that religion that was tied into that building is what destroyed us, a lot of us, you know. And it's not a pretty part of history. And so, you know, that's what made us depart our ways. And I thought, okay, well, you know, don't let the door hit you on the way out, you know. So, you know, same thing with this particular person. You know, she delves in being a demonic worshiper. At the same time, she deals with a lot of like the archangels, and which I'm completely fine with, because I myself, I practice a lot of the same ideals, core values and core principles of being a light worker as well as a death walker. You know, I do not necessarily confine myself to restrict myself to one particular practice. However, I delve with the variations of many different aspects of spirituality, and I delve with, you know, so many different things that it's unreal. And thus, this is how you broaden your spectrum. This is how you go forth into human existence, into this life, and everything that you embody spiritually, to become more open-minded, to become a vessel of something that's more an embodiment of power, and you become wiser in a lot of these things. And by suffocating yourself into like one particular label or genre, spiritual path, whatever you want to call it, whatever that you may be doing in this life, you know, whether if you're an artist of some kind of trade or craft, and you will drown. I mean, you have to invite in open doors and be open-minded, and, you know, be tolerant of different belief structures, and you have to learn and adapt that unfamiliar territory of boundaries of knowledge, and you become so much more, you basically become so much more than yourself. You achieve a sense of godhood or greatness once you constantly delve into the craft every day of your life. But anyways, enough of that. Personally, I absolutely refuse to stand there and allow myself to be subjected to someone else's judgment, you know, derived over me. And for someone to sit there and blatantly tell me and disrespect me, to say that, you know, to jurisdict of who I am, my faith, to question my faith, or even to tell me who I am, you know. Who is another human being, a mortal being, to tell me who I am? They have absolutely no God-given right to do so. You know, I mean, I respect that that's their opinion. I acknowledge it. At the same time, I acknowledge myself for who I am. I know myself so much more than what anyone else in this planet knows of me. Okay, I have friends of mine for 10 going on 15 something years, and those are the people that truly know me, you know. This person in particular only known me for a little less than a month or two, and that's a stigmatic mind and consciousness of what we have today in our modern society, where people believe they have this falsehood of notion and misrepresentation, what they might know of somebody else, but they actually don't. I mean, you know, don't trip me up. Don't sit there and tell me, you know, that you know someone more than they know themselves. That's outright disgusting and repulsive and quite offensive, you know. It's degrading. It's pretty fucking rude, you know. I don't know. It's one of those things where, you know, she reminded me so much of the forgotten name person, the individual. Oh, right. Kimberly. That's what her name was. She reminded me so much of her, where, you know, we got in this debate and this argument, talking about, arguing about my philosophy and my beliefs. And this entire time, I've been listening to her rant and talk about, through her posts and live feed, talking of how, you know, expressing her emotions and feelings and thoughts of human beings in particular, how she absolutely finds them disgusting, how she cannot stand people saying, you know, quote unquote, like, people suck, human beings are disgusting, vile creatures. And here I am, just once again, I'm being misled by someone who has the same ideology, passion, and beliefs as myself, and come to find out that, you know, they're just talking about how you cannot live your life in darkness, of how lonely it is. And, you know, honest to God, I honestly to God don't care how lonely it is. Alright, like I said, I'd rather be associated and surrounded by a handful of few true, genuine friendships of mine than to be compared to being surrounded by a large crowd of overpopulation of people around me, that's surrounding me, that are nothing but artificial and fake. You know, I'm not going to associate myself with people that are on that side of things, you know. And I'd rather be valued and appreciated for who I am, compared to being appreciated for who I am not, or especially to be surrounded by people that are absolute artificial and fake, you know. And unfortunately, this is the reason why I stay away from a lot of the majority of people in particular, because I feel like if I make an attempt to befriend someone else, or to make friends with someone, to get close enough to them, in my philosophy, I feel like I give them enough, I give people the benefit and the shadow of a doubt, I feed them enough rope, enough to hang themselves. Yeah, and I don't know. You know, ever since moving out to the Bible Belt, ever since moving out to the South, like, I've had, like, nothing but confliction of emotions with people. It's as if, like, you know, one day they're the best buddies, like the best friends you could ever have, and then the very next day you're just nothing more than a speck of dust drifting along among the particles of the universe out in a vacuum of infinite space, as if you just represent nothing, you know. And you become, like, your worst enemies. They start having an issue with you, they start having a beef with you, they start, you know, revealing the colors of their true skin, you know, how tainted, how blackened they are. And I acknowledge myself, I acknowledge that I am a human being. While I am very much a misanthropic, I hate other human beings. But herein lies the exception, okay? It's not to sound like I'm full of myself, because I absolutely hate people like that. But I am what they consider as a starseed. And if you don't know what that is, just go back in my earlier videos and watch it, or look it up on the internet, you know, google.com or whatever. But I'm basically a humanoid, incarnated for the purpose on its planet, in particular to helping others, devotion of awakening the conscience of mankind. And in order to see the darkness, you must travel through the light first, or vice versa, you know. For me, it started off as experiencing, reveling myself, drowning myself in complete blackness. And then I've not seen the light till I was 21 years of age. I'm 29 now. And, you know, that had derived from a fatal near-death collision, near-death experience. And just barely I'm practicing light. But then again, you know, I've practiced this spiritual path for a duration of like 8 or 7, 8 years, that it's become second nature to me personally. Day in and day out, every single day, I'm constantly devoting myself to the research and studies of endless knowledge. And there's so much to learn out there, between, you know, Haitian voodoo, hoodoo works, spell casting, ritual works, cleansing, holistic healing, herbal healing, herbology, the study of botanicals, astral travels, just, you know, white craft, black craft, of alchemy, of magic, of demonology, of studying, sharing a relationship with archangels, a divine inspiration, divine knowledge. Now, you know, of course, starseeds. You got starseeds, paranormal research, investigation, and you won't see me having a beef with anyone. Like, if I have a beef with you, or like if I have like an issue with you, I'm going to directly confront and tell you about it. And, you know, I'm not one to hold back my emotions or bite my tongue. I'm not one to hold back my thoughts. And I wear my heart on my sleeve for a reason. And, you know, it's just who I am. I'm just brutally honest. I mean, what more do you want from me? You know? And it's just, to me, it's just absolutely disgusting. I had to create this video because this channel in itself is meant as an avenue or channeling to help inspire you, whomever is, you know, watching this video or watches our video, you know, this channel. It's meant to help change the world around me. And if I had inspired you, then, you know, this is my way of communicating with the world and channeling my thoughts and emotions, and hopefully to help inspire others. And that's how I feel. That's my sentiments. And I don't do this necessarily, you know, to be popular, to seek attention, or, you know, whatever. It's my way. It's my therapy session, you know. It's a way of me getting my voice out there and finding my grounding, my balance, and at the same time to helping me personally to become a better person as a result of this. And, well, thank you everyone for watching. That's just all I wanted to say, was just how incredibly, you know, disappointed I was